In the small town of Maplewood, North Carolina, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, the air always seemed thick with secrets. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone else's business, or at least they thought they did. Beneath the surface, however, a shadowy secret society known as the Silent Hand pulled the strings. To outsiders, Maplewood appeared to be an idyllic town where life moved at a gentle pace. The townsfolk prided themselves on their community spirit, and the annual Maplewood Fair was the highlight of the year, drawing visitors from all over the state. But behind the scenes, a silent hand orchestrated events with a precision that ensured no one ever truly escaped their grasp. At the heart of our story is a curious teenager named Oliver Green. Oliver was a typical 15-year-old with a penchant for adventure and a nose for trouble. His friends often teased him for his wild theories about the town's hidden mysteries, but Oliver was convinced that Maplewood held secrets darker than anyone could imagine. One rainy afternoon, as Oliver was rummaging through his attic, he stumbled upon an old, dusty journal that had belonged to his grandfather, Amos Green. Amos had been a respected member of the community before his sudden and mysterious death 10 years earlier. The journal contained cryptic entries and strange symbols that hinted at something more sinister than Oliver had ever suspected. His curiosity piqued, Oliver began to dig deeper into his grandfather's past. He discovered that Amos had been investigating the Silent Hand, a secret society that had existed in Maplewood for centuries. According to the journal, the Silent Hand controlled everything in town, from the local government to the police force. Their influence reached into every aspect of life in Maplewood, and those who dared to oppose them often met untimely ends. Oliver's best friend, Emily Carter, was the only person he trusted with his discovery. Emily was smart, resourceful, and shared Oliver's love for solving mysteries. Together, they decided to follow the clues in the journal and uncover the truth about the Silent Hand. Their investigation led them to the old, abandoned Maplewood Library, a decrepit building that had once been the town's hub of knowledge. Inside, they found a hidden room behind a bookshelf, filled with documents and artifacts that revealed the society's long history of manipulation and control. Among the documents was a list of names, each marked with a symbol from Amos's journal. To their horror, they realized these were the names of people who had disappeared or died under suspicious circumstances, including Amos Green. As they delved deeper, Oliver and Emily discovered that the Silent Hand was planning something big. The Maplewood Fair was just a week away, and the society intended to use it as a cover for their most audacious plot yet. Determined to stop them, Oliver and Emily decided to confront the society head-on. Their first target was Mayor Thomas Blake, a charming and well-liked man who was secretly the leader of the Silent Hand. They managed to sneak into his office late one night, hoping to find evidence of his involvement. What they found was far more than they had bargained for. Detailed plans for a series of accidents that would eliminate key figures in town and consolidate the society's power. With the evidence in hand, Oliver and Emily faced a dilemma. They knew that going to the police was pointless. The Silent Hand had members embedded in the force. Instead, they turned to Mr. Harold Thompson, the town's eccentric but brilliant inventor. Mr. Thompson had always been something of a recluse, but Oliver remembered his grandfather saying that he was one of the few people who could be trusted. Mr. Thompson, with his wild white hair and a perpetual twinkle in his eye, listened intently as Oliver and Emily laid out their findings. He agreed to help them, revealing that he had once been a member of the Silent Hand, but had left after realizing their true nature. He had been living in fear ever since, but Oliver's determination rekindled his courage. Together, the trio devised a plan to expose the Silent Hand. They would use the Maplewood Fair as their stage, turning the society's own event against them. Mr. Thompson rigged a series of devices that would project their evidence onto a large screen, ensuring the entire town would see the truth. As the day of the fair arrived, Oliver, Emily, and Mr. Thompson were a bundle of nerves. They knew this was their only chance to stop the Silent Hand. The fairgrounds were bustling with activity, and the air was filled with the sounds of laughter and the aroma of funnel cakes. At the height of the fair, just as Mayor Blake was about to give his opening speech, Oliver and Emily sprang into action. They activated Mr. Thompson's devices, and the screen lit up with the damning evidence of the Silent Hand's machinations. Gasps of shock and murmurs of disbelief rippled through the crowd as the truth was laid bare. Mayor Blake tried to dismiss the evidence as a hoax, but it was too late. The townsfolk, finally seeing the extent of the society's control, turned against him. The police, spurred on by the public outcry, arrested Blake and several key members of the Silent Hand. But the victory was bittersweet. As the crowd dispersed, Oliver noticed Mr. Thompson looking pale and clutching his chest. Despite their success, the stress had taken a toll on the old inventor. He was rushed to the hospital, where he succumbed to a heart attack later that night. In the weeks that followed, Maplewood began to heal. The town held a memorial for Mr. Thompson, honoring his bravery. Oliver and Emily were hailed as heroes, though they remained haunted by the knowledge of how close they had come to losing everything. With the Silent Hand dismantled, life in Maplewood slowly returned to normal. But Oliver knew that the fight against corruption and deceit was never truly over. As he and Emily stood by Mr. Thompson's grave, they made a promise to each other. They would always stand up for the truth, no matter the cost. And so, the story of the Silent Hand became a legend in Maplewood, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface and the power of courage and friendship to bring it to light. Thanks for watching. Stay weird.